So you have 1 minute. Tell me who you are.
Okay. Professionally, I'm a marketing consultant. I help you understand finding that exact moment where marketing and business can make sense together.
Go deeper. Okay. Me as a human being, I am not very attractive. And
No.
I am attractive. I am superb.
जलवा है हमारा.
This Vishrut is coming in everywhere now. He's all over the place. Something which I call a founder's brain fog. Basically, what does that mean? Is that as a founder, you get
They just know, oh, there is another cool kid in the house, right? They just know about it. And now they have to approach you. You have to approach them. What are we doing?
3-date rule before you ask the girl to come home or the guy to come home for coffee.
Bistro Bum, Bistro Bum, Bistro Bum, Bistro Bum, Bistro Bum.
Hoping to see a lot of cool brands coming out in India and emerging from here.
How do you build a premium brand without the kind of capital commitment that you are demanding right now? Once again, this is Shagun. And she's getting nervous. Oh my god.
Ready, Shagun?
Yeah.
So you have 1 minute. Tell me who you are.
Okay. Professionally, I'm a marketing consultant. I help you understand finding that exact moment where marketing and your business sense can make sense together. Making sure that every money spent or every penny spent on your marketing activities have a direct correlation to your sales or your growth of your business. It could be any part of the journey that you are in. At the same time, I'm a co-founder at an agency also called Play, where we help you execute the task and make life a little easier as well. Personally, I'm a massive travel enthusiast, always up for a spiritual conversation and understanding culture. And I love watching Bollywood movies.
Lovely. Shagun, let's dive into marketing. Since you say you are a marketing consultant, what is marketing according to you?
In a very simple way, not taking too many words, marketing is nothing but storytelling. It is clearly personifying your brand as a human and then going around with the spiel of what would that person do and how can you communicate that person to the larger audience.
And you say personify your brand. Right? That's very weird. People don't think like that. I don't think like that. If you were to define Coca-Cola as a brand, what's the person? What does it look like?
Okay, so basically, I'll explain what that means first, and then we dive into a brand. So what that really means is that you have every person has their own ethos, own value, a certain way you look, a certain age you're in, certain belief systems you have, or as simple as your favorite color, your own likes and dislikes, right? So similarly, the moment you take a step back first, personify your brand, which basically means that literally draw out a character of what your brand looks like. Okay, like brand X has is a boy mid 18 to 23, single, yeah, environmental friendly, um, believes in human rights.
How about we take a brand,
Yeah, why not?
say Coca-Cola if you like, or another one that you want to choose, and let's dive into that because I think this is a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
From what it reminds me, it's the same way we put ourselves out there because each of us have a certain sense of beliefs, certain
Correct.
value system, a certain way we tick as a human being,
Yeah.
and that is what we show online.
Yeah.
A part of that is what we show online. A completely different persona is what we show online.
Yeah.
That's our choice.
Yeah.
With a brand, it's literally Play-Doh in your hands.
Yeah.
So how would you go about personifying any brand?
Okay. So let's take another area that I really like, which is say skincare.
Okay.
And pick a brand. Let's pick L'Oreal.
Okay.
So L'Oreal Paris is a brand that most of you would probably know about. It's into makeup, it's into hair care, and so on. So what do they have there? So there they scale out like it's a girl somewhere in the age group. So they have different layers because it's such a large brand, and that's a challenge that probably happens with most of the large companies. Having said that, you can have multiple layers also in terms of age group, but for the conversation, I'm going to give you an overall perspective. It's a girl at the age of her 20s, 23, in the mid age the early age group, which is what typically the word used is called first jobbers.
Okay.
Essentially meaning girls coming out from college and just starting work. So first jobbers, they are, so Laura would be the girl would be a first jobber who is completely owning her personality, really confident about how she is, not restricted to any kind of gender outlook, or not restricted to any kind of limitations, and she really really knows her worth. What does I'm worth it means? Basically that you're confident about yourself, you believe in putting your points out there very confidently, you have a voice or a sense of achievement that you are not shy away from putting out there. So you're bold. That's the word that I want to derive from this. Then you already got the gender in place, which is basically the fact that it's a girl or it's a guy. So we've got the girl aspect here. Then we've got the other angle of income that comes in. So because it's a first jobber, it's also coming from a lens of a massy brand. So it's someone who has disposable income within the age of 4 500 to kind of spend on your product, so you've got that as well. Then the next step that would be, I would think about, okay, what would L'Oreal be wearing? So in my head she would be wearing a really nice white shirt, pink cream, a baby pink shirt, some soft colors with bold colors, with that really nice red lipstick on, again confident, again really someone who cares about the ecosystem as well, because L'Oreal is really into promoting eco-friendly and more sustainable ways of making sure the product is made. So again, you've got, so while you do this journey, you start ending up coming up with a lot of keywords that come up. So you've got bold, you've got confident, you've got the age group, you've got the fact that she's environmentally conscious, you've got words like you've got, what more words have you got? You've got even the persona. So in your head, you know how this girl looks, probably like nice, straight, shiny hair, looks a certain fashion. So what happens with this whole thing? And this can be done for anything, any brand. So what happens is you've suddenly drawn this whole idea of how this girl looks. So L'Oreal is no longer, you're not thinking about the fact that it's a lipstick, or you're not thinking that Alia Bhatt is wearing it right now, but you're really thinking about there's this new and that could look differently to all of us, but you've got the person in your head, good skin, whatever whatever whatever, owning herself. So now when you go back to any kind of marketing decisions that you want to make from a strategy point of view, you can decide कि मैं ये activity करूँ या ना करूँ, is this going right with that person or not? It's no longer you as a founder thinking ki, is this going right or wrong? It's now, is that skeleton that you've drawn, is this going right or wrong? Is this the correct way forward or not? And then you can make decisions. So suddenly you're taking a step back from a founder's lens, or from the person who owns the brand that you're so close to, and making decisions from that perspective. Like for example, just to elaborate on this, if I have to make a decision, something to buy, say for Vishrut, so I know a little bit about you as a person in my head. So when I'm buying, say, a gift for you, I'm gonna think about, will Vishrut appreciate this or not? I'm not suddenly thinking that will Shagun like this or not. So that change is what personifying a brand really helps.
But I have a very important question here, right? When we are personifying a brand, there's this thing called first level, second level, third level thinking. Okay, so there was this economist called Keynes, and he was the one who coined this, who says if you are voting on something that the masses are going to make you win at, for example, let's say there's a competition. In that competition, you have to pick the most beautiful girl on the stage, and there are 100 people who are going to be voting about who the winner is going to be, right?
Yeah.
Would you vote for the girl who you think is the prettiest? That would be first level thinking. Would you vote for the girl who you think the crowds would think is the prettiest? That is second level thinking. Would you vote for the girl that the crowds would think is pretty? Right? That becomes third level thinking, because at the end of the day, you are going to win the popularity contest vote. Right? Stock market works in a similar manner. I feel marketing works in a similar manner. Right? Because if the masses decide that you are the one they want to buy, you win. Okay? So now my question is, when I'm personifying my brand, am I personifying someone who my customer is attracted to? Am I personifying someone who my customer wants to be friends with? Or am I personifying my customer? So which one is it? Is it target versus self?
Okay. So, interesting point. So, firstly, when you're personifying your brand, you don't think about the consumer for a minute, from my perspective. You think about the brand. You be true to your brand. You be true to yourself. You know, we think about introspection, you think about who you are. So you come across as exactly of who you want to be. And you keep that aside for time being. Okay, then you come and personify the consumer. Okay, if I am this, who would my best friend be, or who would be the people I'm hanging out with, or who would be people I want to exchange energy with. And then you create the same example that I gave earlier using the same subset. Okay, who would my friends be? And you create a whole ecosystem, you create a whole picture in your head of that, so that becomes a consumer
So
personification.
your brand image is you.
You,
It has,
nothing to do with,
at the start at least, nothing to do with the consumer.
yeah,
And your consumer image comes second, which is sort of based off of you, as to this is me. So
yeah.
these are the kind of people I would like to associate myself with, or these are the kind of people who would probably like to associate themselves with me.
Correct. So you think about, exactly. So you think about, this is me. Now this is the people I want to hang out with, or these are people, like-minded people that I like to hang out with. Then comes the middle part, which is the strategy angle of which story can I say from a branding lens, which is more product lens, that can I say that would appeal to this crowd, which is the side of me that I can show that these kind of people will want to understand more, want to know more, engage more, speak more with. And then that moment is when all your marketing levels, tools, and all come in place, and you build the story together. You build the puzzle together and you try to make it fit, basically.
So you basically have boy, you have girl, and you have to make the meet cute happen.
Basically.
I think it's the other way around also, because the way you said it is no longer intimate. You're saying my people who are going to hang out with my brand or associate with my brand are going to be my buddies. They are not going to be my, other half. They're not going to be married to me. They're not going to be so intimate with me, but just my buddies. Is that where you're going?
No, that's not where I'm going. I mean, that's not where I'm going with. What I'm going with is that okay, when you want to date a girl, you're not going to date the first girl you find, right?
But dating is a different thing now, because
Same.
now you're going to mold your inner self to fit somebody else as well.
No, but then you want to talk about a good relationship. So the whole point of a good relationship is what? Be yourself, right? You like it, you like it, you don't like it, you don't like it. So you be yourself, you attract the larger number of people that are coming towards you. The people that marry you are the ones that are the loyal customers that really like your brand. They like the product. We're all assuming the product is great in this conversation. They
I
like your
think that is a
product.
disclaimer that has to really
That
be
has
put out,
to, yeah.
because no matter how much marketing you do, no matter how much strategy you put in, if your product is a fail,
It's a
nothing's going to
fail.
ever work.
Exactly. You'll have, exactly. So that basically means you have the person, you've attracted the person right once to buy your product, but not necessary that a person is going to repurchase. So the moment you get a repurchase, or you get a person who's buying your product recurring time and again, or is even advocating your product to a friend, we're like, Vishwa, I really tried this new skincare company, you must try it. I wouldn't say that if I've not achieved a sense of attachment, loyalty, or I've liked the product, right? So that comes in after usage. So when you're attracting the consumer, which was the point you were trying to make, you attract a larger set. So you're going to attract friends. You can't attract every person you're going to marry, right? So you attract a larger set, and then you basically have those number of people. Those, it gets filtered out eventually, because everyone coming and purchasing a brand is not going to be a loyal customer. Then you have a layer of customers that come in, marry you, stay with you, use you time and again, be your advocators, be your loudest cheerleaders as well, and it flows on from there.
Now that we are having a dating show, let's go deeper. Okay, me as a human being, I'm not very attractive. and
No.
I am attractive. I am superb.
जलवा है हमारा यहाँ.
But I'm saying as a brand, let's say I'm not very attractive, right? And people are not liking me. And that is the general reality that the first product you come out with, people don't like you, you are nobody, your brand doesn't stand anywhere, nobody knows you, right? Now I need to mold myself. Now I'm not true to myself anymore because it's time to change a bit here and a bit there and like try to figure out actually that, oh, those are the cool people, I wish to hang out with them. How the hell do I hang out with them? As a brand persona, how do we start molding something? And I want to get you out of your comfort zone. So I want to get out of skincare.
Go for it.
As boring as customized furniture for offices.
So, I want to answer your question first about what would you do, and then we'll go back to this journey. So, like you said, sub storytelling ho gaya, we made these personas, and then we're just like, we're just not appealing to the mass, or not appealing to the friend we want to be. What do? The step here is what the word is consumer feedback and consumer insights from that. What does that mean? Basically, is that you start having questions, you start taking feedback and understanding, okay, you're not liking this product, you're not liking this brand. Why? You start understanding, spending time doing surveys, doing focus group studies, doing various activities, which could even be any touch point that you can meet your consumer at, trying to hear their voice. Communication key, remember, in relationships. So it's like you come back and you try to hear what the other person is saying, you take their feedback into consideration, you go back home, you be like, okay, what can I do better? For example, when we put on weight, when there's a lot of holiday weight going on, what do? You hit the gym. That does not mean that I'm not being true to myself. Getting back into shape or looking a certain way does not mean that we're not being true to ourselves. We're just working on ourselves better. Similarly, say for a product, any product, it could be taking that feedback, going back, maybe seeing that the packaging is not making sense. What I'm trying to say is not what the consumer is reading.
So exactly what you're just saying. I read a very interesting story about Royal Enfield recently,
Yeah.
where Royal Enfield in India had gone bankrupt almost 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
before Aisha Motors took over, and the guy who's currently heading it up, I think Siddhartha Lal or something his name is, might not have it right. He went and he basically took a bike, a Royal Enfield bike, lived with it for like 6 months, went and met other bikers, understood where they're coming from, what's going wrong, where their gripes and grimes are, and upon understanding that, went back, tried to fix a lot of those things to get Royal Enfield to be where it is today, where every biker boy in India wants to be, riding a bullet to Ladakh.
Yeah.
Like Royal Enfield has now created that persona again, I feel, after a lull in the early 2000s where
Yeah.
it wasn't really spoken about.
Yeah. Exactly. Because you have to keep adapting and see, we're in a changing environment. We're in a very dynamic environment. Today, things coming from the West is getting absorbed really fast in India. A lot of times we even see a lot of the Eastern side things going to the West, going and getting adapted. So you
I
have to
think
keep
it
adapting and reshaping.
I think it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily be things coming in, but as founders, as people who are spending 24 hours a day thinking about their baby, you get tunnel vision.
Yeah.
You very simply just get tunnel vision, and you're not able to see things beyond that tunnel vision. And you need to go and speak to the people you want to date, you want to marry, you want
Yeah.
to be a part of their lives, you want them to be a part of your lives. You have to
Correct.
go to them and be like, hey, you say this is not working, why is this not working?
Yeah. So exactly. A lot of people don't do this. And what actually happens is something which I call a founder's brain fog. Basically, what does that mean? Is that as a founder, you get so attached to your product that you suddenly believe that this product is me. You forget that the product's not you. You are just the person giving life to the product, and you forget to hear what the other person is saying, you forget to hear what the consumer is saying, you forget to see what's happening in the environment and seeing if the product is actually making sense or not anymore. So you forget to do the validity check continuously, and which is where this brain fog comes into place, because you're so blocked by your vision or your thinking method, and you're so attached to your brand that you can't hear criticism also at some point.
I feel that the kind of companies that we deal with who come on the podcast are fairly early in their journey.
Yeah.
Why I say this is personification of their brand versus who they are is very close together.
Yeah.
Even when I talk about our podcast, the way I would, make the podcast look as a human being would be very similar to an amalgamation between me and Vishwat.
Yeah.
Right? So then the founder as a human being, do you think they need to change? Because as a marketing consultant, I would think that instead of implementing it for them, you're probably helping them implement stuff.
Correct.
So how does the founder change? And now I really wish to get into that furniture example, because now we can put a founder in there and then see it from that lens as to where the furniture manufacturing is going or where the furniture selling is going and how to make it a brand.
Yeah. So see, two parts that you said, like you spoke about a podcast. Now, when I'm saying this, it doesn't mean that it's not necessary that the founder and the product can't have a similar vibe.
They probably will.
They can.
I would assume more often than not they will, because the founder is going to do what they're passionate about, right?
Not necessary. Not necessary. I actually met this one founder. I can't take names right now. What a brilliant lady. And she is not a rider. She is not, I mean, a bike rider. She's not a rider. But here she realized a gap in the market, that the helmets that you make are not superbly resistant to the fall that you have. I could be maybe saying the numbers wrong, that the impact is tested on 26 kilometers per hour, something like that. I'm not sure about the exact number. Very low is what I'm trying to get to. And she's like, hey, look, your impact that you're creating on this speed is not the speed that you're driving in, that we actually have an accident. Hopefully no one has, but you have an accident in. So here she's trying to change the game there by giving the super cool products, that are durable and can actually survive 120 kilometers impact. And
Do you not think that the quality of the product will be affected if she is not a rider herself and if she is not someone who has faced a similar issue?
so it's understanding the first is understanding the gap, understanding the pulse of it, and if you can understand the problem and you can feel the problem completely and you can make sense out of it, and you're spending a lot of time with the consumers that are going to use the product, or people that are going to use the product, which is obviously consumers again, but use the product, and you can understand the problem and solve it, it's good enough. And I want to come back to the example of your podcast as well, because I know I'm keeping on missing it, and then we're going to the furniture one, like, right after that. Is that like founders in this, you're talking about a service driven thing also. You're talking about service, and if I may use the word entertainment as well, while information is being spread with your podcast. Now, this platform is actually for people to see things from the lens of the two of you. So here, the product of the podcast is the two of you. So then Thought Bistro has to be personified as a mix of the two of you. Otherwise, it's not authentic. Otherwise, I'm not getting to hear Akhil and Vishrut's version on things. I'm not getting to see your lens of it. So you see how when you are the product, like supposing if I'm the product, I have to be true to who I am and what I align with as well when I'm speaking to a customer, you know, or a potential client. So that's really important. But when you're talking about a product, you have to see from a different lens, if you all understood what I'm trying to say. And now we can jump into your furniture, if I made sense till now.
Let's go.
Okay, so simple thing like what were you saying? Like a furniture, basically, let's assume this guy is making chairs.
Let's have a woman. Why not? Why is a guy making chairs? A woman is making.
Woman, guy, doesn't matter. A person's making a chair, right? And this person is making a chair for offices, right? And ये बना रहा है बना रहा है बना रहा है, and then suddenly he's reached a stagnation point.
Okay, let's say that the chair is a commodity item. A lot of people are making chairs. The margins are squeezed, and now a brand play is coming into picture. Now, without a brand, he cannot sustain his business, because without the brand, he won't be able to charge any premium to anybody. Okay? So now they are going to start their brand building, and now they have hired your services, and you're going to help them consult, right? So now let's start building the persona of the chair company first.
Cool. So now the thing is that the first things first that we need to understand, to write any story, you need to have some masala. What does masala mean here? We need some USPs, right? We need to understand what is that differentiating factor that I can do or I can have, that a person will be like, okay, this is interesting. Let's understand more from this person. Or
Say
let's
the chair is the best at avoiding back injury or spondylitis that happens from sitting for too long at office at your desk. And office chairs are literally meant to be sat on for 8 hours a day.
correct.
So this particular company specializes in making chairs such that people don't get back injuries.
Correct. So yeah, exactly. But see, that's also available in the market. Let's should we take the conversation that we can create the product a little bit, also differentiate the product
Sure.
also in the way we want to do. So similarly, what would be fun if it's an office chair? It could be different types. Now the chair the boss is sitting on versus the chair your employees are sitting on, there should be a little bit different there.
There is a difference.
There's a difference there. You've seen bosses have these big comfy chairs and like thoda sa bada height and all that stuff like that, right? Now that's the whole spiel of it. So the way of understanding is, can I break my chairs up into different categories? Can I talk to different friends here? One is a boss's chair. Then there's one who's an employee's chair. Obviously, we won't call it an employee's chair because that would just be very not polite to put it out there. So we'll talk about
Here, the friends are the bosses and the friends are the employees, or are the friends the boss's chair and the employee's chair? Who are the friends that we're talking about?
the friends are the consumers that are going to use the chair, the person that's going to purchase, the person that wants to desire to use your product.
Now the question becomes, is it the person who's going to purchase the chair, or is it the person who's going to use the chair? Because the purchaser here is going to be a corporation, and the user here is going to be the employee, and the employee is not going to purchase your chairs.
No. So the thing is that it goes in two layers. You have to always talk about the end. You have to also appeal to the end user, right? For
I
example,
feel like there is a bit of both. So like when you're looking at a boss's chair, for example, that is going to have a lot more input from the end user
yeah,
while the purchase is going on,
correct.
because it's literally going to be used by a single person.
It's just going to be a status symbol that, oh, I'm using a chair from
It's going to be a status
whatever
symbol, it's
company.
going to be a comfort symbol,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. But the thing is, here it is going to be used by one person.
Mm-hmm.
It is one.
We can call the company Bistro Bums.
Yeah. So
It is one chair used by one person. On an employee level, the chairs are more standardized.
yeah,
Chairs can be interchanged. There are
Yeah.
going to be comings and goings of employees,
yeah,
and you're not going to have new chairs coming in very soon.
correct.
So it's something that's going to probably have to last the company 2-3 years at
Correct.
the minimum,
More,
maybe
more,
longer.
more.
I'm giving 2-3 years as an arbitrary number
Yeah.
here. And so there's one is standardized, one is more customized, one has end user input being taken into consideration, I would say 99%, whereas the other would probably have it at like maybe a 15 or 20%.
Correct. So see, that's what I'm saying. So here the story here is different for two people. So what
So
happens?
essentially creating two stories.
Correct. So for the boss, I'm not going to talk to him ki bhai, this chair is worth 1 lakh. The guy's not interested in hearing that. What we're going to talk about the comfort factor, great Italian leather. It's got a massager and a heating situation involved in it. When you're feeling distressed, put it on, feel comfortable. There's a little roll on happening here, but it's so soft that you won't feel the massager until you want to use it. It can be customized to the way you want. Your initials are printed on it.
I'd like to understand the persona. We are still talking about the features of the chair.
Correct.
Let's get into the personification of it.
Exactly.
How
So
are we personifying it?
the personification happens once you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Once you have the story that you're trying to build here.
Okay.
Once I don't know of which, like, see, the thing is that there's so many kind of founders, business owners that you're talking to, but which age group am I targeting?
You can ask us questions. We will give you answers, assuming that we are the founders of Bistro Bums.
Bistro Bums, yeah. Okay, so is your product going to be, what age group are you trying to target?
We are targeting only the top of the top, and we are only making one SKU of the chair, which is for the highest person in the company, right? The CEO, the CFO, the CXO positions. And it has a bum massager and a lumbar massager, and it is the most comfortable thing you can sit on.
Okay, so my question is, which age are you trying to target? Do you want
35 to 50.
Okay.
And we want your recommendation on what it should look like also, because you're the consultant here, right? So should it look cool? Should it look like generic?
Is our age group wrong? Do
No,
you think we should go to do you think we should expand that? Everything is up for debate here.
You have to help us personify the person.
This is here. Let's get preconceived notions out of the way first, and then we can go into.
See, again, here the thing is that there is no right or wrong age group because of the fact that the product you have chosen is very widely accessible to any age group.
It's the specific reason
So-
for why this product has been chosen.
So exactly. So now the thing is that you have to first decide ki the first person I am talking to, or the largest number of sales I want from an age group is X, which you have already identified as 35 to 45, right? That's what you said, right? So 35 to 40, whatever. So it's someone in the mid journey up, not reach prime point yet because it's still in that growth factors in the product in the journey of their life.
So now we are talking about their business journey and not their person, because personally they are already at the top of the thing.
But you're just 35 to 40 does not mean you could be completely
35 to 50.
35 50, yeah, okay, so 35 50, sorry, yeah, so then that's a person who's reached a certain level, suddenly you've reached a certain point and stuff like that. So now at that moment we don't jump to there. I want to first make sure we get the personification of bum chairs right.
Let's get back to the personification of Bistro Bums, because we still don't know what Bistro Bums looks like as a human being, right? So let's go. How do we start? Where do we start?
Okay, so first and foremost, we need to know what product we're selling, which is chairs, right? Do you have
Ultra fancy office chairs meant for the big boss.
okay? Tell me, do you have any USP in your chairs? Any added features in your chairs that a normal chair would not have?
I have access to every feature that a chair can possibly have. I can add a bum massager, I can add a lumbar massager, I can add memory foam, I can add leather, I can add faux leather if they are vegan people. I can put any color on top of it. I can customize it to the CEO's bum.
The same way Formula One car drivers have a seat fitting, we
Yep.
do chair fitting.
Great. So here the story goes in two angles. One is that you have to break it up here. One is that the personification we make of bum chairs, Bistro Bums. Bistro Bums is that, so, because I'm thinking of bums now. So we will think about the fact of how would bistro chairs be. So we personify. Are we, like you said, vegan and stuff? So we would take the assumption that these are
Not necessarily vegan.
let's just take this point for conversation, is that we identify we are a Bistro Bum is a having a tongue twister taking this name for some reason. Bistro Bum,
Bistro Bum, Bistro Bum, Bistro Bum, Bistro Bum, Bistro Bum.
10 times, yeah. So now Bistro Bums is basically a person who is in his mid 30s, but a person very evolved, doesn't mind talking to someone who's 50 as well and can understand their pain points. Is a person that is wearing a crisp white shirt but with jeans, because it's still part of the millennial youth that it is, because it wants to add that extra feature. Wearing really nice sneakers at the same time, and can swap into your Gucci loafs at the same time, wearing a nice watch, has a family, has a nice wife, has a family to go to, aspires to be driving a Mercedes, wants to have the finer things in life, wants all the club membership, wants the Autos membership or the Soho House membership or whichever membership it is, wants to be dining at ITC Four Seasons or whatever, wants to travel first class, wants all the comfort in the world, and so on and so forth. So we've got a very clear idea what Bistro Bums wants to look like.
Shagun's having quite
Yeah,
a time trying
I
to
don't
take the
know
name.
why. So we've got one story of Bistro Bums, right? So
Okay.
that comes as a brand story. Then we come to the customer story because we have to sell this product to someone, right? We cut it out into different layers because the story that you're talking to a 35-year-old versus talking to 50-year-old is not the same. I can't be talking to Vishrut the same way as the way I'll be talking to Vishrut's dad the same way because they have different ethos or different points to believe in.
Don't you think the person that you defined as Bistro Bum is also the person who is buying Bistro Bum?
Correct. But the story or the conversation I want to have with is going to be different. Like I could talk to Vishrut about I could talk to Vishrut about the a more branding perspective, more like ethos perspective, like, oh look, it has 10 features. It could be like, this is a way more comfortable, it looks cool, la la la, and all that stuff. But to Vishrut's dad, I would have to justify the story with the pricing, with the efficacy of it. Ki this is what you need. This is, and this brand is so popular that you want to be using it. You want to be associated with the finer things in life, right? So suddenly, the two people, I'm talking to the same product, but I'm talking to two different age groups. So their thought process is very different, right? The way of them consuming that same product is very different. So the story that goes to each person is very different. For example, to help you understand why this is an important point is very simple. Let's take a very simple example. Like, for example, if you want to put an if you want to create an ad on, say, Instagram, right? The content that you put on the ad or the content that you put out thing gives lets you set a consumer personification. So you start selecting smaller age groups with different interests, right? So the interests that you have and your father has was probably going to be different. So you're targeting different things. And then the reel that I'm putting, which is basically the video that you watch or that ad that you get, is going to be different. It's going to sound different to you and sound different to him because the content I'm sending out to you and him is different, right? So what happens when you're trying to build this brand is that there's going to be a three-part thing that happens is that you as a brand are going to put every soul and every inch of your sweat, mind, body, blood, everything into the fact of building the brand. You're not going to talk about product here. You're just going to talk about experience the finer things in life. Comfort can come in your office as well. You're going to do everything in brand building perspective that can happen, where you are going to be talking about your brand coming out first as an experience. This is an experience you need in your every day to day life. Uh, which, by the way, sleep companies done really well. As an example, when we talk about the same thing, why you're going to talk about the fact that you can experience all of the comfort at the moment that you're spending the most amount of time, which is the 9 hours of your day, which is the most important part of your day. So you can have the comfort there. So you talk about the brand first. And when I'm talking to these consumers, where I've created these different personas, I am talking about one insight that I know is going to click to them and try to find that right touch point where I know I'm going to find Vishrut or I'm going to find Vishrut's father there. For example, for Vishrut, I know I can catch him on Instagram. Up till 40, 42, 45, you can find a person very easily accessible on Instagram. And I start talking about the fact there that, oh, when you're sitting throughout the day, do you feel a sense of pain in your back? But do you also want to be in a first class flight? This is the product for you. While you're sitting, while you're having a very annoying client ranting his life story in front of you, not doing any justice to business, and you just want a sense of comfort, switch on the massager. Go through the pain with a massage, go through the pain with some kind of soul in your in the conversation.
Can I try and break down where we are at?
Please do.
So when we started with us telling you about what the company sells. From there, you built the persona of the company by saying this is a guy wearing sneakers, jeans, very nice shirt, very rich, aspires to be richer, and like all of the physical features that the guy may have.
Yeah.
Here now we have moved on to what my customer looks like.
Yeah.
Then we define two separate looking customers. One is Vishrut, one is his father. Okay.
Yeah.
Then from there we have decided what kind of content do we wish to shoot for each of those customer segments, right?
Yeah.
And then we've made two separate ads or like multiple ads, but featuring targeted to specific people.
Separate target audiences for ads.
Correct.
So now we are discussing what those ads should include. Is that where we are at right now?
Yeah. So now what we're getting to is what story to tell X and Y.
So
which is-
how are we getting Vishrut to be friends with this dude? And how are we getting Vishrut's dad to be friends with this dude?
Essentially, is exactly what I'm saying. And having said this, ads is just one tool for it. This
Yeah,
could
definitely. But like this is a way of, again, this persona who you've made wants to be friends with both Vishrut and his dad.
be correct.
So what story has to be presented to each person?
Yeah. So now what happens is that what we need to understand very correctly, which is where consumer mindset also comes in, is understanding who needs to be told what. You have 10 features, but you can't list down 10 features all the time. Attention ही नहीं है इतना. A consumer does not have so much of attention. Even we don't have so much of attention when we are seeing an ad. So that one story or that one moment that is coming out of that content that you're putting out there, or that ad or that conversation you're having, it could be in person also at a stall or something. That one moment that you're creating, that should make direct sense to that person who's seeing that asset that you have put out there. For Vishrut's dad, I would probably want to talk efficacy first also, because the brand building exercise is already happening parallelly. We're already building Bistro Bums as a brand.
दिग्विजय पाटिल, ये सिर्फ नाम नहीं, ब्रांड है, ब्रांड.
That is already going on the side. We're doing all the activities that we can to make sure that the brand is coming out as a luxury brand.
What are those activities?
So those activities could be anything as simple as associating yourselves with a lookalike audience, lookalike influencers, lookalike audience. It could be positioned in places that are very, very luxury driven. I'm assuming there could be even an outlet store, which is like in an Emporium mall, ground floor, good focus place where you enter the shop. It's got the great lighting, it's got great smell, it's got the right kind of way to show products. There are about 10 chairs that is there. Come sit on the chair that appeals to you the most. It could be when the person's entering, as simple as giving them don't want to shame any other brand, but giving them like a Himalaya bottle of water when they come in, giving them espresso coffee when they come in. That whole experience is happening. The moment I've
Given that the businesses that come on the podcast or that are viewing this podcast are people wanting to start off, right?
correct.
How do you build a premium brand without the kind of capital commitment that you are demanding right now?
So see, it also comes with simple facts like how your page looks. When I say page, I mean websites. How your website looks. What are the fonts you're using? What are the color tonality you're using? What does your logo look like? What are the words you're using on your page? How premium are you looking? Like for example, a Dior's website versus a Pantaloons website they're using is very different. The music you're using at the videos you put out and the content you put out is very different. The video treatment that you do for a photo shoot is very different. So why are all these different? It's not because someone has more money, someone has less money, right? It's about the fact that you are shooting or you're making your brand look a certain way. The color tonalities you're using is a certain way. It's to instill a kind of instinct in someone's head that, oh, this looks premium to me, or oh, this looks very achievable and massy to me. Massey is not bad, Massey is great. But it's about understanding that what that feel is coming to you, or what that is sparking in yourself. All these codes that I just spoke about is to make you feel a certain way. So when you spoke about what are the things that you could do not offline but online, are these codes. How is your pictures taken? How is your what are the words you're using? what are the kind of collaborations you're having with people, which influencers are you picking. I can't be picking an influencer that's promoting every mass thing and then suddenly be like ye becho 1 lakh ka product. Disparity instantly.
You have to basically associate yourself with luxury.
Yeah,
What you were suggesting earlier is making yourself luxury, but that
correct.
requires a lot more capital.
But can you do that
And
smartly? Because when you're starting out fresh, you don't have that kind of capital. I can't suddenly go like, "Mujhe 1 lakh rupiya do. I want to get Masamina wala to do an ad, whatever costs are." I have no idea. I do, but I have no idea right now. So I can't do that because your budgets will run out. So how do you? What are the ways you can do it in a more eco-friendly manner? It could also be simple like every state has its own way of doing it depending on where you are. Supposing if you take Calcutta as a market, we have very large club culture that's there. So you have clubs like just like how you have autos and you have what's the Delhi club
Gymkhana.
Gymkhana and stuff like that. You have clubs like you have Saturday club, you have uh, Tolly club, and so on and so forth. All the HNI means the people that we're trying to talk to, the high income
High
bracket
net worth
people. Yes.
individuals.
So these guys go there and spend a lot of time there. Is it possible to take a small space out there, get this one chair that sits there with your branding all across, where a person's coming and sitting and something like, "Arey wow, I'm loving the feel of it. Wow, my back is getting warmer." Just like how BMW and all do product displays at touch points and associate them at events or locations with the consumers go to. Can we have a standing? Can we have a pop up there where a person's experiencing your product also? A lot of time people fear of getting the products out in front, which is a trend we are seeing coming back into the market where we are putting the product out in front. So that's why I'm using this example where we have the person coming out right there. What happens here is three things. One, product is getting tested. We're also getting feedback where a person's asking question, इसमें ये है नहीं है मैं glass यहाँ रख सकता हूँ नहीं रख सकता हूँ. You're getting insights of how you can keep evolving. That's one. And they're also touching, feeling, understanding because we don't have an outlet now where a person can come and try, right? And these are expensive products. You're not going to suddenly swipe your card and buy a 1 lakh rupee chair when I'm not tested the product. So you get an outlet to
unknown brand, unknown
try.
chair,
Correct.
unless you've tried, unless there is some way that you know that, okay, yeah, I'm going to get what I have asked for.
Correct.
There is no way, forget a lakh rupees, you're not even paying a few thousand.
Correct, because you have that fear and that mentality that I don't know what's
No
going to happen.
credibility.
Correct. So you've got that catered. Second thing that you've really got is that you have suddenly gotten every person that's coming there to give you their phone number, email address, so that we can have a conversation with them again. Because I can't get data of people randomly off the net. I need to have an outlet or a mode to get consumer data. If I don't have consumer data, I can't retarget them. Retargeting means talking to them again, having that conversation again. So this point, I've suddenly gotten a massive data bank as well. Assuming 50 people are coming and trying your product every day. So you've gotten, say, 150 if you do for 3 days, for example. So you've gotten 150 people, hot leads that you can talk to later, being like, "Hey, what do you think?" or whatever. Like you can retarget them and stuff like that. So you've again got that conversation going on. The third point you've got going on is your brand suddenly is known to people because your name is coming out there, your appearance, your setup, your vibe check is happening. A person is seeing it directly eye to eye, so that later when you're seeing an ad for somewhere or you're seeing a newspaper ad as simple as that or whatever in a magazine or whatever, you're suddenly you remember, "Arey ye dekha hai kahin." It clicks back.
You may not be seeing it one to one, but you're seeing it in passing. You're seeing
Correct.
your brain is making subconscious associations to it.
Correct. You're making some codes to it. And then suddenly later when you're seeing or you're hearing about it from a friend, I was like, "Oh bro, wait, I've seen this. I've heard of this. I know this." Suddenly the knowingness has arrived. Suddenly that awareness, as you've got the person in awareness funnel, and then you're bringing it down to consideration and desire and then purchase.
Let's go back to the journey then. So first I formed my persona, then I formed two different target markets.
Yeah.
Now I have made friends with them, or at least made an attempt to be friends with them by marketing myself. and these were all the mediums that I could use to market myself, right? Now we are friends. But the thing about friends is that friends are not somebody you are dating. They've not even tried you out yet, right? How do you get to the next step?
Yeah. So currently your acquaintance is with them because
You're not even
we're
friends.
not friends
Yeah.
with them yet.
There is another potentially cool kid in the house who has got my attention,
Yeah.
but whether or not he is deserving of my attention, I don't know yet.
So now you be a little bit of the pushy kid. Now that you've got acquaintance, now you've got this person's phone number. So now you be that person who slides into the DMs, right? So you start figuring out how do I text them without being creepy or without over flooding them that they're like, dude, I don't want to talk to this person.
Awesome. So I am the chair company, Bistro Bums. How do I slide into the DMs? What does my message look like?
So if you've taken the example of a person that has visited your pop-up at the club, for example,
Vishruth visited my pop-up and I am supposed to text him.
this Vishruth is coming in everywhere now. He's all over the place.
He's the target market.
He's the target market. He is
Big boss.
he's big boss. He's owner. He's everything.
He's literally Bistro Bum.
He's Bistro Bum. Yeah,
I own the chai company. I'm the target market.
you're everything.
I am the person who's interacted with the ads, everything.
Everything. So now that I know Vishruth has visited my pop-up, I have his number. I have a chance to have a conversation because now I have a conversation topic. Assuming I have his phone number, I can now text him and be like, hey, you visited the store. We would love to hear your feedback on the product. Or, it really depends. I'm just talking very abstract right now. Really, this requires a lot more in depth study to it. But it could be that we're still trying to play the awareness game. Okay. And we're still trying to understand the product, what does we should like and not like in the product. So we can always go back to him, send him a message. Hey, we really liked you visiting store. Hope you liked our product. We want to hear something more about it. We loved you giving our time to the product. We would love if you're the point I'm trying to make is that if you're trying to say that we want to we want the person to purchase, assuming that's the journey, we can give them a small instant gratification of hey, because you've given us time, we would like to gratify you with a small discount to start with. Or we could, and if you don't want to be the discount game, a lot of luxury brands don't like to be the discount game, you could give an added on benefit to it. It could be instant delivery, it could be customization, it could be getting your name printed with Swarovski crystals, it could be anything. It could be an added on gift on the side with it, like, oh, we want we like a customized chair, table, mug, anything, not chair obviously, but like anything that goes with it, or a cushion, as simple as that. We want to extend this to you because you gave us our time. We want to gratify you, and we understand your time has so much value. We want to just appreciate you on that. So that can happen as one tonality message. Suddenly you're like, oh wow, okay, there's a reward I'm getting. And people are suckers of instant reward, instant gratification now in the world. So you get an instant gratification and hope for a purchase to happen. And you've also gone with the tonality like, hey, we want to hear your thoughts. So do you want to take a second to tell me that as well? So that's the way that we're going with them, and then we can
You're
have a
making that
conversation.
person feel important. Essentially.
Exactly. There's a customized message that's going on. There is direct communication that's going on. There is something that you feel कि ये generic, ये mass message नहीं जा रहा है, मेरे लिए कुछ आया है, right? And if it's an ultra luxury thing that you want to do, you can even have a phone call that goes out there, you know. So it could be either or. So that happens right there, which kind of helps you hope for a sale or hope for a purchase from this journey. Now coming to something which is more abstract, which is now coming to the Instagram lens of it.
I would like to question.
Please do.
So, this is the positive that
Yeah.
you're hoping for a sale to happen. This person comes, interacts with you, gives you a number, and you actually are able to get through. To
Yeah.
them. What of the case of where you're not able to get through? To them?
That's more likely than more
Where
often
you
than
don't
not.
hear back.
More often than not, we
Where
don't.
out of 150 people, maybe 3 people get back to you.
Correct. So see, because the product we're talking about is a very high income, a high ticket value, conversions will be less than 10%. as well.
Yeah, sure. Conversions you probably expect it to be around the 3 to 5%
Yeah,
range.
I'm being optimistic and saying 10% here. So from 150 people, we can assume 15 people have actually responded back to us, and from that, the sales journey comes in front. So there will be people who will not respond to you. There will be people who are not interested in you. There will be people who are not going to maybe not maybe the time you've called them is incorrect. Maybe the message is not read. So after a certain amount of time, which could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever, but not too long because it gets off the head, you re-message them awaiting to hear. No, not literally don't have awaiting to hear. Please, no one ever do that. That's a deathbed. But like trying to find another story to tell, or if there is a moment marketing that you could do, or a campaign that you're running, say hashtag the boss's chair, you know, that you could do, you retarget them, or you go back and have a conversation with them to ask them. Just exactly similarly, have a 3 date rule before you ask the girl to come home or the guy to come home for coffee. So you take that amount of time, which could be about a week, 10 days, so that is still fresh in their head, and you retarget them or remessage them continuous to ask them a follow up. Again, then you might again then have a smaller number of percentage of people coming back, but from that 140 people that have not responded to you, maybe you get at best 7 8 responding to you again, and then you do that journey again, but you can't do it more than 3 times because then it's pushy. But that's the way you do it, and that's the way you keep doing it, and then you're keeping on doing things time and again that a person gets accustomed to. For example, like online world, the math is that 7 to 8 times if an ad is shown to someone, they tend to remember it. Otherwise, you don't remember it. Like right now, um, the good bug is something that all of us have seen at some point because of the frequency of the ad that keeps coming in on your phones, on your the Instagram world, or even performance Googles and stuff like that. It comes to you because of the fact that it's coming in such high volume. So that's the way of it.
Businesses are very scared of something called marketing expenditure.
Yeah, very.
You hear this term a lot, that I want organic growth. I don't want to pay for stuff. How do you associate that?
Which is fine. Like, at least for a brand that's starting out first, I tell every person that I'm interacting with, when you're really new, starting out, contrary to a lot of people that say, this is just my belief, don't pay for social media. Don't pay any ads, because what happens is that once you pay for your once you put in money in Meta's fly the flywheel for your product, um, from your brand page, instantly there is a significant dip in organic growth. What that means that users who find you organically don't tap. Like, Meta is not pushing your content because they suddenly think, I hope Meta is not watching this right now.
भाई मुझे माफ कर दो भाई, मेरे मुंह से निकल गई गलती से, आज के बाद कभी किसी को नहीं बोलूंगा भाई.
They probably are.
Let's just hope they suddenly think that, okay, this guy or this girl has money to spend, so they'll help us with this. We don't need to push the content, is what I have seen as a learning growth from my perspective. So initially, I like to have, for the first 4 months, or say even 6, if they can hold it, go organic. Go very your friendly way. Don't pay for things in terms of ad spends. You're more than welcome to be spending on influencer marketing, because that's no ad. That's not spoiling your algorithm of the whole thing. Hey, how did that happen?
I feel that it could be a poison cycle of sorts. I'll tell you why. Let's say you have a product in which you can push in 10,000 rupees in ads and you can generate 5 lakh rupees in business. Okay? Now let's say that you're not pushing that money in.
Optimistic, but okay.
Yeah. Now let's say that you are thinking that I want that organic growth. So I will not push this money into ads, never get to know how much money I can actually make from ads, sit for 6 months and not make 30 lakh rupees because I wanted organic growth. By the time you get to that organic growth part, 6 months later, you are still sitting at 600 subscribers or 600 followers or whatever it is. And now you think it doesn't work. And then you don't even put money in ads.
See, the thing is that, yeah, I mean, what you're saying is also from one lens very valid. Now, the thing is that you have to understand when you're starting out as a brand, you have limited money. I have 100 rupees to do my marketing. I need to decide what is that 100 rupees going to be used for. Is this product going to be needed to, should I be using the 100 rupees to be giving my sales retailers and all more benefit and margin so that they push the product? Should that 100 rupees be divided more into the facts that I spend more into giving free stuff, samplers, handouts, whatever? Or should I be spending this 100 rupees in doing these pop-ups at clubs because that also costs money? Should I be using this 100 rupees on getting an influencer to put a post up for myself? Should I be running this 100 rupees on a Google my business perspective lens of it? Should I be using this 100 rupees to make sure my packaging and my stickering and my labeling is better? Or should I be putting this 100 rupees in my social media as an ad? Right? So you have to prioritize which one is most important.
And now we come to the meat question. Help me figure this out. What should I prioritize? The
Okay.
How
Bistro
do you
Bums.
know what to prioritize?
So, how do you know how to prioritize? First, let's answer in the more generic lens is basically understanding the nature of your product, understanding which avenue is going to give you maximum sales,
How?
depending on the nature of the product. Like, for example,
Ultra luxury product, ultra niche audience, not like, well, let's not target the masses for now.
yeah,
I would assume for masses, an online ad or something like that might be easier
Yeah.
because you're reaching most people that way.
yeah,
However, for an ultra luxury product, which is targeted to
yeah,
a very niche audience,
correct.
what is your
Basically, Bistro Bums.
Yes.
See, one thing in Bistro Bum that it has the ultra luxury product, which was the chairs, but also I remember you telling me we also have chairs for employees, right?
No, now we have moved away from that. Now we are only for the ultra luxury CXO positions in my time.
luxury.
Okay, so we've removed the employee chairs here. Okay, fine.
We're playing the ultra luxury game
Okay,
only.
fine. So then, the way of doing it would be that first you want the 100 rupees I have to spend first. I would spend it on couple of things. One would be whatever inputs I can be to reach these guys in person. That's the one I would like first. I would like to spend that money on a photo shoot because that also costs money. We can't neglect those things. I would spend that money on creating a better landing page, which is your website. I would create that little bit of money that's left. Now we have a little bit of money left on getting some right influencers to try the product, to show online this product makes sense. And when influencers put a post up and you can do a collaborative post where it says, now X and Y have posted this, that also increases your followers at the same time. And then coming much later into doing the ad runs on social media because they do add a lot of value, but we have so many more things to do first. I would try to so coming back to listing it out in the better way, I would do offline marketing. I would do making sure my online window dressing is done perfectly, my photo shoots done perfectly, and I would make sure that the right influencers are talking and advocating my brand online, so that all these things, what this journey is doing, the photographs are going on my Instagram, every landing of my Instagram post, reel, whatever is going to the website, which has a beautiful story to tell. And at the same time, the influencers are also landing my people to the website. All right.
And people are also seeing it in their daily lives.
Correct. And having said that, when you do all of this, there is also one channel that is there. On top of my head, I'm not going to remember the name, but there are these aggregator websites that are there. I'm not saying an Amazon or something, but there are like aggregators like this which just deal with luxury furnitures for the bosses. Getting yourself listed there so that organically you're getting some kind of sale that's happening there as well. And the little bit of money that's left, the very little money that's left, I'll start building on from my performance marketing lens.
So when we're looking at luxury, we've gone offline first. People are seeing your brand. Online, you have a aesthetic looking web page, aesthetic looking Instagram page. Your associating personalities who the mass or the target audience would associate with luxury with your product. Through that, again, you're getting people to your website. So you've spent, I would assume, 95 out of your 100 rupees. Where does that remaining 5 rupees go?
So I think the last chunk that's left, I think that would go into performance, where basically that means that every time you spend money on writing anything on Google, that you know how you see that Google May it comes up like an ad blob there. So that's why it's called performance in the easiest way to explain. So I put the money there. So anytime someone's searching for me or writing for me or writing about a product that is close to my product, we come ranking there. And now one last thing that really doesn't require money, which is more like an investment thing because it's so time consuming and slowly it has to be done time and again, which is basically SEO. SEO is basically, in the simplest way to put it, it's like, so SEO is basically nothing but into thing, which is basically you do an activity every day, every week on week and stuff, slowly to build it. Basically using keywords. Keywords is basically a consumer to search for your product or to kind of write about the nature of business you're in. So we use those words and keep writing articles and stuff, signing it off from Bistro Bums, so that when you write something on Google, it comes up organically, and Google understands that, oh, Bistro Bums, something cool is happening here. This person might be talking about this, and they link it, and your presence come right there. So you have it, put it on different websites. You put it on Quora. You put it on whatever the other platforms are. Get something called backlinks, which means like their website, your website gets integrated somewhere in the middle with links from the backend. As a consumer, you don't see it. As a founder, you should know. So there's a backlink that happens, and you start ranking in terms of your page, giving credibility to your website, and it starts building a whole case study for you from a crawler's perspective.
Shagun, why do I trust you? Who are you? Why should I care about your opinion?
Why does a founder who comes to you, why does a budding founder watching this podcast value who you are? Why have they heard you for the past 1 hour?
Okay, so firstly, thank you for whoever's heard me for the past 1 hour. That's very kind of you. And I hope that whatever we spoke about added some value or added some sort of perspective on your journey as a founder. And hoping to see a lot of cool brands coming out in India and emerging from here. Why you could trust me is because I like to stay true to what the founder and the brand ethos is. And I like to be extremely collaborative in that nature, where we keep the journey and keep that presence alive. I like to be with people who we can have agree to disagree and kind of always talk right for the brand. So that's the space that I come from. And I guess the trust factor comes in from seeing credibility from, say, past work. Or more than that, if you can connect with me or I can connect with you, I think that's the only starting point to build a brand.
So, Shagun, thank you for talking to us. We're on to the tradition part of the podcast where a previous founder has left a question for you. We'd like you to answer that and leave a question for the next founder.
Okay.
So, the question for you is, what do you think is the impact and power of words, and how should they be used?
That's a great question. So, two lenses from a business standpoint. Words is what creates your story, and what we've discussed in the past are just justifies the whole thing. I think every word used kind of creates that whole story that really sets the tone of it. And you can't reach 100 people in one day physically. So those exact artworks, those messages that go out, and the words you choose, maybe they're 3 words or maybe they're 5 words. Each word holds a lot of significance. So they're thought out, well crysted out, well crafted. So that kind of shows the impact and the magnitude of it. And on a personal lens, I think every time you use a word to speak to someone, anything hard or anything nice that's said really hits the heart. And I think if everyone's a lot kinder and thinks about what they're saying to other person, I think we can even build a really nice ecosystem around us for our personal beings and personal lives.
Lovely.
So yeah.
Thank you so much, Shagun. Can we get your question?
Sure. Oh, a secret.
Yes. All secret.